Okay, choose the best answer if necessary. Use paper. You weren't given paper, so just do it on here. Which of the following expressions is 5 times as much as the sum of R and S? What do y'all think? Y'all think it's D?
Yes.
5 times as much as sum means add? Okay. What is the solution to the equation 1/2 x plus 3/2 times x plus 1 minus 1/4 equals 5? What's your first step? What's your first step? PEMDAS. Uh-oh. What does PEMDAS stand for?
Exponents.
And why am I weird and I write it like that?
Oh, I know.
Multiply and divide are interchangeable, and add and subtract are interchangeable. You always do it from left to right. That is absolutely true. Not making that up. These are interchangeable from left to right. Shh, we got some learning going on. Let's listen up, guys. And then those are interchangeable from left to right. So the way you read a book, if the divide comes first, you do it before the multiply. Always from left to right. That's why I don't love PEMDAS, because students forget that you can divide before you multiply. So anyway, but I would distribute before I did any of the PEMDAS stuff. Yes, Liam, please put it away. So distribute the 3/2. So we have 1/2 x plus 3/2 x plus 3/2 minus 1/4 equals 5. Okay, so we did do the multiplying first. 3/2, like distributing, that is multiplying. So now we need to add and subtract, but from left to right. Did I miss an x? I feel like I missed an x. Right there?
Yep.
Okay, so then we can combine our like terms. So we have a 1/2 x plus a 3/2 x, and together those make 4/2 x, which is 2x. Do we all agree? Because 4/2 would be 2. And then we want to do 3/2 minus 1/4. Can I go ahead and call this 6/4? Would that be easier to look at it that way? Multiply top and bottom both by 2. So 6/4 minus 1/4 would be 5/4. And then we still have equals 5. So we want to subtract the 5/4 to the other side. You're killing me, guys. Okay, so we have 2x equals, can I change 5 and make it 20/4? 15/4? But can I make this 20/4? Because isn't it 5/1? And if you multiply top and bottom both by 4, you end up with 20/4. Do we agree with that? And then 20/4 minus 5/4 would be 15/4. And then we would divide by 2, divide by 2. Doesn't that mean multiply by 1/2? Now we're reviewing a lot of fraction stuff. Okay, so we're going to change that to multiply by 1/2. And so that's 15/8, which is C.
Next one's D.
Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Any questions about all that fun fraction stuff? If you're not feeling comfortable with the fraction stuff, you should not be using your graphing calculator. You definitely should be using the multi-view, because the multi-view does fractions in a really cool way. So use your N over D button and let the calculator handle all that adding and dividing and fun stuff that we just did. Okay, so what is the number of grams in 500 kilograms? They're reminding us that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Would you set up a proportion for this one? Yes, I would set up a proportion. 1 kilogram over 1,000 grams is equal to 500 kilograms over X grams. Does that make sense? And then you would cross multiply. So 1 times X is X. And then 1,000 times 500 is 500,000. Did we say D? Number 4. Robert sells 4 different flavors of jam at an annual farmer's market. The graph above shows the number of jars of each type of jam he sold at the market during the first 2 years. Which flavor of jam had the greatest increase in number of jars sold from year 1 to year 2? So we're going from the gray bar to the black bar. And which one is spread apart the most? Blueberry? Everybody agree? That went up by a lot more than the other. Well, these went down. No, that one went up. That one went up, but this one went down. Okay, so between the 3 we have to choose from. I agree with y'all. That's the greatest increase. So we're going to pick A, blueberry. And on to number 5.
A.
In the xy plane, a line crosses the y-axis at the point 0, 3 and passes through the point 4, 5. Which of the following is an equation of the line? You know I want to see a picture, so I'm going to draw myself a picture. I'm crossing the y-axis at 0, 3. That's right there. Y-axis, x-axis. 1, 2, 3, over 4, up 5. Puts us at this point here. So we have this line. And so I know to eliminate C and D. Why do I know to eliminate C and D? It's crossing the y-axis at -4, right? For C and D. And we know we're crossing at 3. And so then all you have to get right is the slope. And so to get from one point to the other one, you want to do rise over run. So don't you go up 2 and over to the right 3?
4.
Thank you. Up 2 over 4. So 2 over 4 is 1/2. Y'all make this so fun. Okay. Number 6. The amount of money M in dollars Paul earns can be represented by the equation M equals 12.5H plus 11, where H is the number of hours Paul works. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the number 11 in the equation? What do y'all think?
I can't look at this one. So, I'm looking at 0 hours. What does that say that?
Well, if we plugged in 0 for H, wouldn't that end up with 11? So it's how much he works without even working, right? That doesn't make sense. How much he makes without even working, V? It's like his flat rate. You got to pay him $11 just to show up, and then you pay him 12.5 for each additional hour. Okay, or each hour after that. D. Number 7. The table gives the population of the 5 largest countries in the European Union in the year 2014. Which of the following is closest to the mean population of these countries? So I want you guys to use the multi-view and let it figure out how to do it on the multi-view. So we need to click on, let me grab mine, put it in front of me. No. I want you to figure out the multi-view statistical capabilities, okay? So click on data. Everybody find the button data? Did y'all find it? And it gave you like a list. And so type in your values, 65.9, 80.8, 60.8, 46.5, and 64.3. Once you've put all your data in, I want you to go second data. What does second data say? It says stats. Okay, and what is, when you see second data, what comes up there? One variable stat. So select that. And then go down to calc. So you have to hit your down arrow, press enter on calc, and we're looking for X bar. Doesn't this look a lot like the graphing calculator? It's kind of nice, right? So X bar is 63.66, which is C. You say that's unnecessary work, but what if it asks you for the standard deviation instead? Do you have the standard deviation formula memorized, or would you rather let a calculator do it for you? Just saying. Okay, which of the following fractions is equivalent to that? Let's go ahead and try to do it on our multi-view calculator. So let's start with the N over D button. The problem, guys, is that you're going to have to use a negative when you're supposed to and a minus when you're supposed to. Otherwise, you'll get an error message. So I'm going to put a red dot over negative signs. Okay, so I'm going to do my fraction button N over D. I'm going to do -6 minus parenthesis -9. Close up my parenthesis, put it over 8, and it tells me that's 3/8, which is B. Is that what you guys got? Okay, but if you accidentally use minus signs for all of it, it will give you an error message. So just be aware of that. And that's true on the graphing calculator as well. It'll give you an error message. Okay, number 9, water runs from a pump at a rate of 1.5 gallons per minute. At this rate, how long would it take to fill a tub with 150-gallon capacity? What would you do? Tell me the math involved, not just the letter answer, guys. Okay, so take how many gallons we have and divide it by how many it can do per hour, or per minute, excuse me. So 150 divided by 1.5 is 100 minutes.
Easy money. Will you struggle?
No.
The volume of a right rectangular prism is found by multiplying the length of the base by the width of the base by the height of the prism. A right rectangular prism has a volume of 30 cubic inches. If the height of the prism is 6 inches, then what is the area of the base of the prism? I need to visualize it. That's just who I am. So sorry, forgive me. If it's a right rectangular prism, let's see. What's that going to look like? How do I do this?
I don't even know how to draw.
Just draw 2 rectangles.
Oh, that looks awful.
No, yeah, why is it a triangle? What are you doing?
It says a right.
Rectangular.
Oh, just kidding. I can do that easier. Better?
That's a 3D.
That's the prism.
Prism. 3D. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, the whole volume, a right rectangular prism has a whole volume of 30. If the height of the prism is 6 inches, what is the area of the base? It's just 5, right? Because you're going to do 6 times the area of the base to get the 30. I agree with that. That was kind of weird. I agree. So how do you say this guy's name?
Jacoby.
Okay, Jacoby. He followed a recipe that requires 2 cups of water for every 3 cups of flour. If he used 8 cups of flour, then how many cups of water did he use? Did y'all do a proportion?
Yes.
Where does the 8 go, top or bottom?
Bottom.
Why?
Is 3/2 of that.
Because it corresponds to where you put the flour on the other one, right? So we have 2 times 8, we're cross multiplying. 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times x is 3x, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. And that's not an answer choice. So you might want to use your multi-v calculator, do your 16 over 3, and then change it to a mixed number.Id I show you guys how to do that last time? Okay, let me pause the video so we can go to .cam. We'll be right back. So if we're working it out by hand, then 3 will go into 16 5 times with 1 left over. So that does give us 5 1/3. So the answer is C. Okay, which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? What's our first step? Distribute the 4. So we're multiplying the 4 in. So we get 4x plus 20. And then you still have the plus 4x and the plus 8. So what do you want to do next? Combine like terms. So 4x with 4x is 8x. 20 with 8 is 28. Is that an answer choice? Nope. So why B? B would have given us 8x plus 32, so that wouldn't work because of the 28. But if we distribute this one, we get 8x plus 28, and that is our answer, so we're going to go with A.
We're cruising this fall.
Awesome. What's that guy's name?
Khaled.
I would say Khalid. Y'all are saying Khalid. Okay. Took him 90 minutes to complete 40 tasks, which is long as an equivalent rate.
How do you make what?
You want to do a proportion? So we have 40 tasks is 90 minutes. I know I did it backwards, but it's because they put the tasks on the top. So could we do this? Does that make sense? Because they gave 10 tasks for all the answer choices. So we have 40x equals 900. Again, we're cross multiplying.
It's D.
Step up, Lou.
So 900 divided by 40 is 22.5. Is that right?
B. Step up, Lou, or step down? 900. Figure it out, though.
Did I mess up? Are we good? Okay. Number 14, we have this beautiful table. The table above shows a survey of 50 registered voters in a city. Each voter was asked whether they plan to vote yes or no on 2 different issues. If a voter who plans to vote yes on issue P is randomly selected, then what is the probability that voter also plans to vote yes on issue Q? We have a given part. What's the given part?
Oh.
The voter plans to vote yes on issue P. Like, it's given. So we don't even consider the people who are going to vote no. Okay? So plans to vote yes on issue P is 20 people. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay? So out of those people, what's the probability they also plan to vote yes on Q? Isn't that 8 out of the 20? Are we not following this? Because this is something we did in statistics for sure. It's like we use the word given in our problems, but it's still.
See, it's, yeah.
C.
Why is it C?
Because you got 4.
Divide by 20.
Divide by 4.
Sir, don't let how you work.
Which would be
Are we okay with that?
Next one's A. No,
Why is
I'm
it
assuming
A?
C.
What? No.
What does the negative exponent tell you to do? Flip it. So it becomes 1 over 5 to the third power, and that gets rid of the negative, but then 5 to the third power means 5 times 5 times 5, which is 1 over 125. But guys, do me a favor, try that on the multi-view and see what the multi-view does. Actually type it in as 5 to the negative 3 and see what the multi-view does.
Oh, gotcha.
It does it beautifully, doesn't it? I love this calculator. Okay. Number 16, try it on the multi-view and see what happens.
Oh, there's an error.
Is it fifth? Is it 25? C. Always C.
What does the calculator do?
Error.
Anybody try it?
Error.
Don't you add?
It usually gives you 0, I believe.
So that it does something.
Okay, it does the same thing on the graphing calculator. Oh, you're talking about...
It's C. It's C.
Yeah. I'll show you something that this one does that one doesn't do in just a second, though. Okay, back up a second, though. A lot of students on a problem like this, they want to use the x variable and type it either on the graphing calculator or the multi-view, and then it gives you 0, but I want to tell you why it does that, guys. It has 0 stored in as the value of x by default. So you're really taking 0 to the third power times 0 to the second power raised to the fifth power. That's what you're really telling the calculator to do. So anytime you have variables in a problem, you can't put it in the calculator. Again, it's not keeping x as x. Do y'all get what I'm saying? It's making it 0. So that doesn't work for you. So x to the third times x to the second would be x to the fifth inside. Do we agree with that? And then to the fifth power, again, gives you x to the 25th power. So that is C. Okay, 17. The elevation at the summit of Mount Whitney is 4,418 meters above sea level. Climbers begin at a trailhead that has an elevation of 2,550 meters above sea level. What is the change in elevation to the nearest foot between the trailhead and the summit? And they want us to know that 1 foot is equal to 0.3048 meters. So how would you do this? Subtract? You want to subtract first, then convert? So y'all are doing 4,418 minus 2,550, and what are you getting?
And you divide by 0.3048? I believe so. Let me get just sorry. Let's see.
Look at 1868. Is that what you said?
Yes.
But that's in meters, right?
Yes. So you got to divide by 0.3048.
So take that and divide it by the 0.3048 to convert it to feet.
C.
And y'all got C for real? Are we?
When in doubt. C.
Easy money.
Number 18, 3x minus 2y equals 15, x equals 3. The two lines given by the equation above intersect in the xy plane. What is the value of the y coordinate of the point of intersection? How do you do that?
Plug in.
Plug in x. What is x? Okay, we're going to start by plugging in x equals 3 into the first equation. So we're going to do 3 times 3 minus 2y equals 15. And so we get 9 minus 2y equals 15. So negative 2y equals 6. Divide by negative 2. So y equals negative 3.
I'm not so sure how I feel about 19.
Easy.
Here we go, Nicholas. That's second.
L is this, M is this, N is this. They're sets. Sets L, M, and N are shown above. Which of the following sets represents Lumen? Okay, the union of L with the intersections of sets M and N. So
That's just not even a question.
U equals union, which is or. It's in set L or M, set M or N. It can be in. Okay, and then intersection, this thing, totally putting it on the daily check next time, just for you, equals and, okay, has to be and in both sets. So union is like, it can be in either set. Intersection, it has to be in both sets. So we need to do L, U, M, and N. You want to do what's in parentheses first, so let's do M and N. What is in both M and N?
20. No, 10.
10,
20.
20, and that's it? Okay, so in the parentheses, it's just 10 and 20. Okay, so we take that or anything that's in set L. So it's going to be 0, 10, 20, 40, 80, and 100. And so that's why it would be B. Does that make sense? So it's U is it can be in either one of them, either or. So it can be in set L or it can be in the intersection of M and N. And we said the intersection of M and N are just 10 and 20. So it's all of L plus the 10 and 20. I didn't need to write the 20 twice though. Hey guys, we've been through 19 questions and you don't like one of them. We're doing pretty good, right? But do you understand how I got to that answer? You understand the symbols now if they come up on a test?
Sure.
You want to talk it through again?
No.
We don't confront them.
So, you.
U is or. The upside down U is and. It has to be in both sets. So if there's a U, it can be in either of those sets. You wouldn't list it twice, though. If you had a 10 and 10, you don't list it twice. You just list it once. But let's go with this, M and N. So it has to be anything that's in both M and N. It's what they have in common. And so it's the 10 with the 10 and the 20 with the 20. So that this part of it is only 10 and 20. And then the L is all of this. So since we're or now instead of and, it's all of this with all of this. But we don't list the 20 twice. So it just to be
Makes sense, huh?
awesome.
Would Q be -2?
Triangle PQR lies in the XY plane, and the coordinates of vertex Q are 2, -3. Triangle PQR is rotated 180 degrees clockwise about the origin, and then, oh my goodness, and then reflected across the y-axis to produce triangle P prime, Q prime, R prime, where vertex Q prime corresponds to vertex Q of triangle PQR. What are the coordinates of Q prime? So we have to rotate it 180 degrees clockwise. So clockwise, like going over here would be 90, right? So going up here would be 180. So we know it's going to be in here somehow.
-2, 3.
Is it going to be flipped over like that? Did I do that right?
No, you got it.
Where's the R?
R is all that matters is Q is -2, 3.
We just care about Q. Okay.
And then you flip it across
And then you have to flip it across the y-axis, which is going to put the triangle over here now, right? When you flip over. Yes? So Q, but guys, how are y'all deciding this? Just because you have to do a positive, positive? Is that what I'm guessing? Okay. So this is our positive, positive quadrant. Okay.
Turn in no more.
You're welcome.